Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 126. So in my intro, I keep talking about the membership circle that I'm looking forward to starting. And I am one step closer this week, my friends. So I'm excited to say that. I'm one step closer because I am in the midst of publishing my newly updated website. So I did a really big thing the other day. I did this big thing and then I immediately emailed like 3 people who've been walking on this journey with me and told them that I did this big thing. I was very proud of myself. And it was big, maybe not for other people, but it was big for me. And I am in the midst of publishing my newly updated website. It is lovely, and I just can't wait to share it. I'm so excited. Unfortunately, I say I am in the midst of publishing because I changed my DNS records with my web host. And I am now in the midst of the be patient for 24 to 72 hours part of the relaunch. And that's hard. Patience is hard. So thankfully, my site is still mainly informative and interactive, and it's not like a shopping cart site, so I can afford to be patient. But it's really hard to see the, website under construction attached to my website address. But hopefully by the time this launches, it will be up and running. Because patience is hard, but it's also necessary. Which brings me to today's topic. I will start with the main message in mind, and that is that impatience is a terrible organizational strategy. That rushing is a really bad productivity strategy. Early on a recent Tuesday morning, I was heading out the door to teach time management at the Highway Construction Careers Training Program at a local community college. I love that I get to teach this content to these students. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I've been teaching for this program at this particular community college. I teach it at 2 colleges, but I've been doing this one specifically for about 10 years now, I'd say. And I'm so glad that they keep asking me to come back. I don't teach the same time management content over and over again to the same group, thank goodness, because that seems like the antithesis of time management. I mean, we do often need to relearn lessons all the time, but, repeating to the same people over and over does not seem like a good use of our time. So instead, the students are in a 12-week program, and I get to teach each group of students while they're in the program. This is a career readiness program for people interested in the trades. So some of my students are coming back to a classroom setting after a long time out of a classroom setting. So they haven't thought about studying and time management lately. And some folks, well, let's face it, some of us, including my students, have never had the opportunity to learn about time management and productivity in or out of the classroom. So when I start our conversation for the day, I ask the class to consider, why do we need to talk about time management? As in, why do the organizers of their coursework want them to learn about time management? I, of course, think everybody should learn about productivity and time management because, come on, it really makes our life better. Productivity is getting the right things done, getting them done well, not doing the wrong things, not wasting our time, right? So for these students, they are in this 12-week program, and the rest of their lives do not stop when they signed up to be at this training program from 8 to 4:30, 5 days a week for 3 months. They still have a lot to juggle. So we talk about time management early in their 12 weeks to help them manage their increased workload and homework. In addition, we talk about time management and productivity on the job because it's a career readiness program. We imagine what that looks like on a construction site, staying on track and on task and on budget for a major project because time management and productivity matter. These students will be on construction sites, like on roads and highways doing their work. And what I was reminded of that Tuesday morning is that time management and productivity also help keep us safe, like on a construction site. Or, in my case, which I will explain in a moment, just leaving my house in the morning. So I get to see these students again this week for 4 hours of stress management. And so I'm absolutely bringing this up. So here is the learning. Rushing to get things done or being impatient and therefore careless to get things done may look like time management and productivity, but they typically have the complete opposite desired effect. Now, I can't say that unilaterally. I try not to say never or always, but I will say often, as in very often when we rush because we're trying to get something done faster, it has the opposite effect than what we were hoping for. For example, I was talking to my counselor the Monday before that Tuesday class that I talked about, and he asked how I was feeling about the stressors in my life. And truly, I was feeling pretty good, right? So there's a lot going on. But most days, I feel like I've planned for all of the expected things. I'm going to say that again. I have planned for the expected things because they're expected. So of course I've planned for the expected things. I'm a planner. It's what I do. And it's probably what you do as well. However, it's the unexpected things that trip us up. And here's the deal. When we rush, when we are impatient and start getting careless, that is when the unexpected things can happen. For example, heading out the door on that Tuesday morning to class, I was on fire in a good way that morning. I had planned ahead. The bags were packed. It was definitely a many bag day. I had extra clothing packed for my different responsibilities. I had a healthy breakfast and lunch packed. My materials were ready for my presentation. I was on time and even a little early. I was good. And as I was walking out my back door with the last load of things in my arms, I caught the back of my foot on the storm door. The door closed faster than I expected, and it whacked the back of my ankle because I was rushing. I was thinking, okay, last trip. My mind was already in the car, and on the commute, right? So let's go flying out the back door with my arms full of stuff, congratulating myself, of course, on doing all the things. And I should know better because I am not always a graceful person. I have learned to slow down and be more careful and mindful in my 50 plus years. I move quickly most days. I do, but I try not to rush. So thankfully, my impatience and carelessness that morning did not completely derail my day, or at least my morning. But yeah, that totally could have happened. All of the good planning in the world cannot triumph over a self-caused emergency. I could likely get on track quicker. I can go to plan B, right? So some of those things are what organizing can do for us. And I can do those things, and I've talked about those in past articles and episodes before. I did not have to stop and do first aid on an ankle wound, thank goodness. And I was reminded as I drove to class, I need to mention the importance of not rushing or being impatient, even if we think it will help us save time or get more things done. Because this is an example of how rushing or being impatient can have the opposite effect, as I mentioned earlier, than what I intended. It is a bad productivity strategy. With some of my organizing clients, we are undoing chaos and disarray that occurs due to impatience or rushing or being careless. Obviously, I'm not judging because I just told you that happens to all of us. But, things get missed or they fall to the ground or they get lost or broken. And now we, all of us, could have accidents and mistakes that happened because we were careless. And we have to clean them up before we can actually get to the physical organizing of making things better. We have to catch up. We have to clean up. We have to put out those fires. Fires, unfortunately, occasionally of our own making. We cause the drama or the accident or the emergency from lack of planning or from being impatient and then being careless and rushing. Sometimes we need to take more time to save time in the long run. We need to do a little less so that we can do a little more later. Both of those things need to be true. Taking a few extra moments as we plan and implement, whether it's getting out the door for your next appointment in a timely manner, or maybe it's sending an email and making sure to reread it before you actually hit send, right? So taking that extra minute. I did that yesterday, sending out an email to one of my students. I had written it, put it together, and then I stepped away. And I sometimes do that when I'm writing. So I'll put it together and then step away and then come back and edit it. But then it was time for me to leave. And, I could have just hit send and left, but I didn't. I took the extra 30 seconds to reread it one more time to make sure that it actually made sense and that it actually said what I wanted it to say. I wanted to be encouraging with this student. I wanted him to know that I absolutely believed in his abilities and capabilities and that he just needed to work a little harder this week to meet some deadlines, right? And I took the moment deciding to be careful and not careless, and I did it right. Looping this back to my highway construction careers training program students. Tomorrow, when I talk to them about stress management, I will also add an addendum about how being impatient or rushing often increases stress and decreases productivity. If my tripping out the back door isn't a strong enough example of why we shouldn't rush, consider the impact of construction workers if they were to rush or be impatient in their work. Their job sites are risky. So we hope for their sakes and the sakes of their coworkers that they don't rush without thinking through their work. And all of us driving the roads or living in the buildings that they build would advocate for safety and patience as well. And if we can see the point when we talk about construction, I hope we can see that point when we consider our day-to-day work and personal lives as well. Support around getting things done in what we hope is the right way is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and talk to you next week.